Yeah, 37 steps.
That's a big bastard, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big tree. That is a monster. Today in the wood yard, we've got big trees. So I'm standing next to possibly one of the biggest ash trees I've ever seen in my life. It's on my dad's land here. We figure it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 to 15 feet around. It is a monster. It's got a crown that stretches out probably 75 feet or so from side to side. And my dad is in his 80s, and he said when he was a kid this tree was here and it was big then. So it's been here a very long time, and this might not last much longer with the emerald ash borer. This tree might die, so we're going to do a little video of it. We're going to measure it and see how big around it is, but it's a beast. This is all one tree. It is just huge. We're going to do a little measurement here. So we just measured it, and I have a 12-foot tape. That's all we had was a 12-footer, and we had to go to full 12, and then we had to do another 2.5 feet. So it's 14.5 feet on the narrowest spot. We went up about a foot, and it was 16.5 feet. So, because it starts to flare out, but still, that's a big round tree. And then we measured side to side best we could for width, and it's 52 inches. So it's a big tree. I'll show you as I go around here. So I'm just gonna walk around the tree, and I'm gonna start right here. I'll just take average size steps. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 9 steps to get around the tree. That's a big tree. So I know for you West Coast guys, where you have the really big trees, the big Doug firs and the big spruce trees, we have big trees, but for an ash tree, this is a big one. I've never seen one any bigger. If you've seen one bigger, let me know. Ash tree, remember. I don't want to hear sequoia. I want an ash tree measurement. So let's see what you got. Okay, my mic wasn't working here, so I have to do a little voiceover. I'm going to walk, standing from one edge where the crown of the tree starts, over to where my dad is standing on the other side. And we're going to step it off with 3-foot steps and see how wide the crown of the tree is. So my mic picks up here in just about a second. There we go. See how far it is widthwise. So there's 1 step, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. That's 32 steps.
Hey, look at on the other side. That looks like just as wide.
Yeah.
I can't move it up there.
Yeah, we'll go that way. So 32 times, so what is that? It's like almost 100 feet. I did 3-foot steps.
Yeah.
That's almost 100 feet.
It's just as far across.
That's amazing. Well, let's go the other way now. Okay, so now I'm going to step off the width of the tree going the other direction. I'm standing almost, right about here. I'm underneath the widest branch on the tree. I'm going to walk over to the other side, and we're going to see how far it is to the other side going the other angle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. So that's 37 steps. Yeah. That is a very...
Same as the other one?
More, 37.
It was.
Yeah, 37 steps.
That's a big bastard, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big tree. That is a monster. So I'm gonna go walk underneath it so you guys can see underneath it again. And the next question, so it's well over 100 foot, the crown from side to side. So I'm gonna go underneath it here. I want you guys to take a peek and give me a guess. Give me your best guesstimate. How many cords of wood do you think are in this tree for firewood? I don't know. We won't know until it dies, which could happen. We can cut it down, but if I had to guess, just because I've cut trees that are similar in size with as many trunks, I would guess there's at least 3 full cords probably more like 4 or more. Because I cut a maple down a few years ago that was about 42 inches across, and it had a whole bunch of shoots coming off of it like this. And it was real spread out. And I got 3.5 full cords out of that one tree. So I'm thinking this one could be more. Who knows? All I know is it's big. So here's the tree. I'm going to give you one more good look at it. I'm going to walk around it again and give you a look at the crown on this baby. And no, the more I look at it, the more I think about how many big branches are. I mean, each one of these branches are just huge. I really think there's 4, maybe even 5 full cords, just from what I know of other trees I've cut down. It is a big one. Okay, so I walked over to another tree. This is a basswood that's growing down by one of the ponds here. It's probably not a world record, but it is a big basswood. I just measured it, and it's 7 feet. Right to here. You can see it's 7 feet. Is that good? Did you get to see it? There it is. So it's 7 feet around. That's a pretty big basswood. Because most of the basswoods that I've gotten into my wood yard when I buy truckloads, they're usually no bigger than this one right here, the small one next to it. Anyway, there it is. That's a pretty good sized tree too. I think there's a lot of wood in there. And it's basswood. So that's a good one. Next tree. So I'm standing now, I don't know, maybe a couple 100 feet from the biggest ash tree that's down over that way, and the one we measured. I'm kind of up on a high spot here. If you look behind me, there's a pond you can see down there, and these are all oaks around over here, and there's some more ash trees. And this is part of my dad's property that he's thinking of selling. He's got 6 acres here, and he's going to divide them up into 2 or 3 acre lots, or maybe there's 9 acres right in this section right here, something like that. He said he was going to do either 2 or 3 acre lots. And so where I'm standing right now, if you go straight behind the camera that direction, is probably 300 yards maybe or so, 200 yards. And that's where the Wisconsin River is, so it's real close to the river. So he's got river frontage. He's got, I think it's like 1,000 feet of river frontage. And then in the back, you've probably watched my other videos back that way, he's got his own little lake. It's a 7-acre lake, and there's a couple other small ponds there too. So anyway, we're gonna go up to another big tree he's got up in the front of the property here, and gonna go check out a big maple tree. Okay, I was on my way to the maple tree, and I found something else interesting here, which I know what this is. This is just part of a tree that he cut down, and I'm gonna check out the expertise you guys have on tree identification once a tree is dead. I'm not gonna show you all of it, because that would kind of give it away, but what kind of wood do you think this is right here? It's when you cut down. Now, it's not a tree that gets really big. This is actually a pretty good sized one. The biggest one I've ever seen has been about twice of this. So it's more of like a shrub kind of a tree. And so yeah, if you can tell me what kind of wood this is, I'll be very impressed. I know what it is, but I don't know if you know what it is. Let me know. So I'm just walking up to towards the river, and the road runs to the front here, and he's got a really big maple tree up here that we're gonna go put the tape measure on it. Again, it's not a world record, but it's just a big one. It's a pretty nice tree. All these trees behind me that you're seeing, I've helped plant all these back when I was a younger man. He's got a Christmas tree farm, and these are just some that we just let grow. So now I'm just gonna walk up over to this big maple tree that's over here. I think it's a maple tree. Anyway, we'll find out in a minute. Okay, we're at another tree here. This is a maple tree that I cut down a couple years ago. It was very rotten, which is why we cut it down. And the tops were good. I got a lot of firewood out of it. It's a silver maple, as you can see by the bark here. But it's a pretty big one. I just measured it, and I'll throw the tape back up there so you can see. It is just over 4 feet across, just over 48. It's about, and there's the other side. So right here, it's about 50 inches. So it's a pretty big one. Now this tree, my mom went into the historical society because there was a house that was planted, a house that was built right here, the old foundation, that when I was a kid, that was still there, and we were renting it. And it was the first house ever built along here on the Wisconsin River. And they said it was built in 1842. So this tree, this was just open. This tree right here was in the picture, and it was just a little guy. But it had to be this spot, had to be right here, this tree. So that means this tree lived about 160 years, something like that. No, 180 years. So it was 1842 and it's 2001 now. I mean, it's 2021 now. So that means this tree was over 180 years old when it died. So there you go. There's another little tidbit. Now we're going to go over to a really big tree. My dad thinks it's a hackberry. I'm not sure. It's the one way up over there you can see. We're going to go check that one out and see what it is. So let's go find out. I am up to the next tree over here. It is a hackberry tree. As big as hackberry tree I've ever seen. It is huge. So I got to get a tape measure on this one. I got to find out how big this is, because most of the hackberries I've cut down have been this variety right here. Stuff like this, you know, that are at the most, you know, 16 inches is a big one. This one's way, way, way bigger, as you can see. It's a big boy. We're going to measure it right now. So I just put the tape measure around the tree and ran it around, and here you go. It's just over 9 feet. And I'm measuring about 4 feet up on the tree. I'm not at all in the root flare, so 9 feet for a hackberry. That is big. That is really big. So anyway, I'll give you a look at it from this angle. What do you think? That's a big hackberry. I'm going to try to get a width measurement on it here. So what I did was I just kind of eyeballed from side to side with the tape measure. One spot came up with 36 inches, one spot came up with 38, and the other spot, because it kind of flares out a little bit, came up with 40 inches wide. And that's just eyeballing it. I'm sure you math guys would be able to figure it out if it's 9 foot around, doing the whole pie thing. I can't remember how to do it. Don't have pencil and paper, but anyway. There's a lot of wood in this tree. Hackberry is very good firewood, but we're not cutting it down. It's just a nice tree. So right now I'm just standing kind of out on the road from where I just came in from back over here into the woods. And my dad owns down to where you see those white pines planted down there. That's the kind of the edge. And then everything from there all the way down to the sign you can see way down there, the speed limit sign. He owns past that like another, I don't know, 100 yards or so. So this is all the river frontage he's got. He owns both sides of the road. There's the big hackberry we were just around. And so I'm just gonna walk back to their house and talk about wood. So, is that a big hackberry tree? Just curious. I think it is. I don't know, have you ever cut one down bigger? And what about the basswood? How much bigger have you cut down or seen? And the ash tree, how much bigger have you cut down or seen? So there's the big hackberry up there. And so yeah, no, I'm just walking back. And we used to have more trees along here, but when they redid the road here, they cut down a whole bunch of big trees. They cut down a whole bunch of big cottonwood trees that were pretty old. Like there's a big old cottonwood right there along the river you can see. And so they got rid of a bunch of the trees, which makes it so you can see the river a little bit better. My dad kind of had to come down and talk about cutting some of them down because he didn't want them all cut down. But they had to do it for road improvements. Anyway, see you in a little bit, heading back to the house. Okay, you see my dad down there? He's just going into some of his other woods. These trees right on this road here, this tree line right along here, my dad planted all these white pines when he was in 4-H when he was 12 years old. So that would be 70 years ago that he planted these. That's the house he grew up in right over there. That was his homestead. And then we're gonna walk down the road here. So all these trees he planted, well, these grew up naturally, but the big ones, when he was 12 years old, he planted these. So he figures these are all right around 70 years old right now, and he planted all of them. So I'm just gonna kind of try to catch up with him here, because we're all the way across the whole section. Yeah. Yeah. So these you planted too? These here too? You planted all these too?
Yeah, I planted all these too. No. Not all. This is all paddock. There's no trees here.
So what was this?
They're seeded by themselves.
This was a sheep pasture?
Yeah.
So this one you planted right here?
Yep. That was
wow.
planted right. And here, I planted these here too.
Yeah, I know.
See how spaced they are?
They got a little taller than you did.
Yeah.
They're getting taller and you're getting shorter. Yeah. So, yeah, they're big trees. So here's a whole nother patch of trees that he planted when he was 12. So what's the saying about trees? The best time to plant them is when?
In the spring.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next best time is today, because they do grow, but it takes time. Yeah, these are big.
See how straight these are row right here.
Yeah, I see that.
Another row. They're 12 years old, 4H. We didn't cut any of them, they're still there.
Yeah, they are nice.
I see this, they're not real big limbs, so they make pretty good for a log cabin.
Well, they want some knots for some character, so. But yeah, they're straight. They're good ones. Yeah, planting them close is the way to go, just like nature does it. Yeah, you got deer all over the place in here. Deer beds everywhere.
And just so, well, look, every 3 steps and plant a tree, 3 steps and plant a tree.
Yeah, yeah, you can see they're in rows.
That's exactly 70 years ago, because I'm 82 now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're nice. Well, let's go this way. We're in another part of the property now. All these trees you see behind me here, these are all white pines. I was just out of high school when I helped my dad plant all these. So that was 40 years ago now. 40 years ago he planted these. About that long ago. So yeah, they're all getting pretty big too. So those trees are all 40 years old. All the white pines you see over there. And I'm going to go up over to this other section. And there's been trees that, you know, that just pop up through the years. Like you see all these jack pines right in here. And there's some, I think some of these are jack pines and some of them might be, yeah, these are all jack pines. He's also got a bunch of Scotch pines that were planted that came up too. So yeah, there's some of those in here. So yeah, all these spruce trees back here that you see in the white pines. And the white pines you see all around here, I planted all of those with my dad. And actually right where I'm standing now, you see all these little pines growing up this area. This was all Christmas tree farm for years and years. We harvested them all off and just let some of the other ones grow up. And then he had a Christmas tree farm on the other part of the property. He's got about, I think at the time he had like 40 acres of trees, but I don't think it was all trees. There was probably 20 acres of trees planted, so a lot of trees. It was basically his retirement job. So anyway, there you go, there's more trees. So I planted these big white pines you see right here along the edge. Next spot. Now I'm at a different piece of the property, and we're right on one of the ponds here. This is the 7-acre pond / lake that my dad owns. And we're by the biggest white pine on the property. It's not a world record by any means, but it's a big one. Now this tree, my dad said when he was a kid, he used to climb it when he was like 10. So that was 70 some years ago. It's got a lot of big branches on it. And I think, if I remember right, this is one of the first, I think this is the first tree I ever sat in and I shot a deer out of back when I was about 12 years old. And he left some nice presents here. These are not his, somebody else put these in. I like finding these when I'm cutting trees down. Not good things to hit with your chainsaw. I've only done it once or twice and it's not good. But yeah, they're grown right in there. That's why in a lot of national forests they outlaw them, the screw-in type steps, because sawmills do not want to hit those. Nobody wants to hit them. So we measured this tree. We went around it and measured it. It is 10.5 feet around. So not nearly as big as the ash tree was, but still a pretty nice big tree. It's the biggest one on this property here. So I think that's it for today. We're all done measuring trees and talking about big trees on the property. Please hit the like, subscribe button. You know what to do. And tomorrow I'll be in the wood yard, and you should be too. Good night, Irene.